For those of you who are not aware, Elijah McKnight was a young man who died back in 2019 in an event involving law enforcement and EMS and the use of ketamine, which has brought about a snowball effect of controversy and outrage and political and media scrutiny on the EMS use of that drug. Today, I want to talk about these latest developments. The plot has thickened, if you will, with an amended report of the autopsy in Elijah McKnight's case that now indicates that ketamine and the law enforcement use of physical restraint were combined to be the cause of death in that case officially. What went wrong? How did all of this happen in the first place? Ketamine is an amazing drug. No doubt about it. It is a drug that is often referred to as a dirty drug. And what that means, it sounds like a terrible name, but it actually refers to ketamine's versatility. It is able to be used for so many different purposes. It's used not only for chemical restraint, but also procedural sedation. It can be used for pain management, as you all know. And here in the last year or two, it has been found to be very effective as an antidepressant treatment for people who are otherwise resistant to the use of antidepressant medications, typical antidepressant medications, and the list goes on and on. However, ketamine has also had a little bit of sordid history, being used as a recreational hallucinogenic, a party club drug, a date rape drug, and that history has really given us an uphill battle in light of these more recent ketamine-related disasters. Today I want to focus in not on all those other uses for ketamine, but specifically on ketamine when it's used for acute agitation and chemical restraint. So what you're looking at here is sometimes referred to as the ketamine continuum. There on the low end, you've got your analgesia range. A little bit higher up, you've got partial dissociation, and then there toward the very end, you have dissociation. At that range, that's procedural sedation, essentially general anesthesia. It could be up to that level. For acute agitation, typically the dose that's recommended is 1 to 2 milligrams per kilogram IV or 2 to 4 milligrams per kilogram IM. Now, I am not going to, in this video, state what our current dose is here at St. Charles County Ambulance District because I want this video to last and be usable if the dosage ever changes in our guidelines. So I'm going to direct you to the protocol app. Take a look at the guidelines and be familiar with our current recommended dosage for chemical restraint with ketamine. But keep that continuum in your mind and where the chemical restraint dose is supposed to be. In recent years, ketamine has come under fire, specifically EMS use of the drug. So again, what we want to do is look at a few of these cases and determine what went wrong. Elijah McKnight was 23 years old. He weighed 143 pounds, and this event took place in August of 2019.
This is surveillance video of Elijah McKnight's final trip to buy iced tea at a convenience store in Aurora, Colorado last August. His family says he sometimes wore a ski mask to keep warm because he was anemic.
After paying for his items, he turns around and bows to the man behind him in line. His family told NBC News this was his signature gratitude bow. At 10:30 p.m., a man calls 911.
Yeah, he's walking south on Billings Street and he has a mask on.
The caller tells the dispatcher a man looks sketchy, but makes no mention of any crime.
Were any weapons involved or mentioned?
No.
Officers arrive at the scene.
Stop. I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
Well, okay.
Turn around.
And within 19 seconds, an escalation.
Let go of me. No, I am an introvert.
Stop.
Please respect the boundaries that I am speaking.
Stop tensing up. Stop. Relax.
Stop. I'm going home.
Relax or I'm going to have to change this situation.
All three officers wrestle McClain to the ground.
Give us more. Give us some more units. We're fighting them.
At this moment, one of the officers uses a carotid control hold on McClain, a tactic that involves an officer placing his arm around a subject's neck, applying pressure, and restricting blood to the brain via the carotid arteries. Responding officers later told an Aurora police investigator that McClain briefly went unconscious and the officers released the hold. At 10:46 p.m., just over 2 minutes after the first officer made contact with him, McClain is pinned to the ground and says this.
Fighting us on the ground. I'm Elijah McKnight.
We had to use carotid.
That's what I was doing. I was just going home. I'm an introvert and I'm different.
Did he come out? He's out. Was he out?
I heard some snoring.
I just
He wasn't completely. He didn't lose consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm just different.
Tried
I'm
to grab
just
my gun.
different. That's all. That's all I was doing.
It was actually Rosenblatt.
I'm so
He
sorry.
for your gun, dude.
I have no gun.
That's where I tried carotid.
I don't do that stuff. I don't do any
Two
fighting.
other units that are not here.
Why
They
were
can
you
slow it down a
telling
little
me?
bit.
At 10:49 p.m., McClain throws up a first time.
Stop.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to do that. I think I can't breathe correctly because
Over the next 4 minutes, McClain gets sick a few more times. Officers are also heard multiple times asking him to stop fighting.
Rolling this way, dude?
Yeah.
Are you able to?
and my legs locking up.
There you go. Just like that.
You're good.
Don't
You're
get
good.
up, dude. It's not going to be good for you. I'm telling you right now.
If you keep messing around, I'm gonna bring my dog out. He's gonna dog bite you. You understand me?
At 10:54 p.m., McClain is still on the ground, and an officer says this.
So when the ambulance gets here, we're gonna go ahead and give him some ketamine.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect.
Let's give that a couple of minutes and then we'll put him on.
Whatever he's on, he has incredible strength.
Yeah, crazy strength.
I had him in a
10:59 p.m., a fire medic administers 500 milligrams of ketamine to McClain in an attempt to sedate him.
7 minutes later, responding officers are told he has no pulse in the back of an ambulance.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He's revived, but is brain dead and is taken off life support 3 days later.
The coroner concluded last November that a combination of physical exertion and a narrow left coronary artery contributed to McClain's death, but could not determine the cause of his death. He added that it could have been either an accidental death caused by a reaction to the ketamine, a natural death, or a death linked to the carotid control hold used by officers.
McClain was a 23-year-old massage therapist who liked to play the violin for shelter animals. He weighed just 140 pounds.
I want to stress here that it's unclear as to whether or not ketamine was the primary cause or really even a contributing factor in McClain's death. Even looking at the amended autopsy report, I have my doubts. However, just looking at where we were back in 2019, the coroner could not rule out ketamine as a potential cause of Elijah McClain's death. And an independent physician consulted by the city of Aurora said that she found no definitive evidence that ketamine led to McClain's death. However, that amended report that has come out here just within the last few weeks is painting a very different picture, and it is now citing the physical restraint of the law enforcement officers as well as EMS use of ketamine, and a very, very high dose of ketamine are believed to be the official cause of death now. Before the paramedics ever even administered ketamine, McClain had already vomited and lost consciousness after police subdued him with a carotid hold and having him in the prone position with 3 officers holding his extremities down to the ground. That was before ketamine was ever administered. But officially, the cause of death is now restraint and the use of an incredibly high dose of ketamine. And we cannot deny that that dose was incredibly high. So take a look again at the continuum here. And we said that this is where ketamine for acute agitation doses should live, right in this range here. So Elijah McKnight reportedly received 500 milligrams, and weighing only 143 pounds, that translates to more than 7.5 milligrams per kilogram, which essentially put him under general anesthesia, and he died not long after that. I'd like to call this an isolated incident, but unfortunately within the very same week as the Elijah McKnight tragedy, there was another man, also by the name of Elijah, also in Colorado, who almost suffered the exact same fate.